Can't. Can you tell me why you are so inconsistent? Why? Please give me something. Tell me why you are so inconsistent. And I thought this team was going to at least be competitive in this game. Nope, not a chance. Hawks lose 5-1 to the St. Louis Blues. Are you shocked? Look, they looked good against Edmonton. I was at least expecting them to be competitive, but they weren't. They weren't competitive. The offense was atrocious in this game. The team's offense can't score. They can't put shots on either. It's like when they have decent number of shots, they can score at least 2 or 3 goals a game. But when you only shoot the puck 16 times the entire game, yeah, you're only going to score 1 goal. Sometimes you don't even score in those games. It's an easy game for a goaltender. 16 shots on net, that's a joke. That is a joke of an offensive performance. And again, it's like, and see, there were 2 goals scored in each period. 2 goals by the Blues and 2 of those, and then we split and another one. But you're like, this team goes from winning 4-1 on the road against Edmonton to going into St. Louis and getting spanked. Fleury looked lost all game long. I mean, the defense was just not giving him anything. I mean, the defense was like Swiss cheese. Fleury was just going all over the place, trying to be the savior, but he can't do it. He can't do everything. You have to help him. The defense just can't get things done. It really baffles me. It baffles me, honestly. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I ran on the defense all the time, but maybe the offense sucks as well. Because you know what? They've had some real stinkers this season. The offense has looked god-awful in some of these games this year. But man, has that defense just been inconsistent all year. If they play well, we're able to win games, especially if those are low-scoring games. Man, if the defense stinks, the offense just can't. They can't carry the team. They just can't score. And if we're going to win, it's got to be low-scoring games because the offense can't score, and that means the defense has to play well. It's like the Bears. It's like the Chicago Bears. The defense is good and the offense sucks. But with this team, the defense is consistently worse than the offense. The offense is actually better than the defense, which is not very good because the offense sucks. Is this all making sense? Because if it's not, let me just go ahead and summarize it into 2 words. They suck. Offense, defense, it all's just bad. Even though you have the reigning Vezina in your net, you have Patrick Kane, you have Jonathan Toews, you have Alex DeBrincat. Doesn't matter. You have Seth Jones even. Doesn't matter. They suck. And I don't even think it's like the Oilers where they just have a problem with depth. I think it's just the team sucks. And it's just like those are like the good players and everyone else just can't perform. And it really makes me nervous that someone like Brandon Hagel is going to turn into someone like Dominic Kubalik, who's going to have this really good season, going to basically be one of our top offensive producers, and then suck. Now, Kubalik, granted, is not the worst player to ever play the game. He's definitely not the worst I've seen. But comparing it to the way he started, yeah, he can't perform. He's not performing at that level anymore, and I'm afraid to see that Brandon Hagel is going to maybe fall in that trap. It's just a bad game. It was just a bad game that you'd like to try and forget and then move on from because there's really no positives to take away from this game. The only time they scored was on a 2-man advantage. They needed a 5-on-3 to score in this game, and that was it. They can't. You can't rely on your power play and to score goals. That can't be. That just can't be how you run an offense. You need to score 5-on-5 goals. It's not that hard in concept, but for this team, it's apparently really difficult to score 5-on-5 goals. I don't know why. It's almost like they have to draw penalties, like 4 penalties a game to even get enough opportunities to put up 3-4 goals a game. It drives me up a wall how inconsistent this team is. Seriously, like when you talk inconsistency, this team could be the master of inconsistency this year. They can go on a 4-game winning streak against some of the toughest competition and then lose to Arizona and Montreal and Ottawa in 3 games straight. This team is capable of doing that, honestly. I would not be shocked if that happened with how inconsistent this is. They could go on a 4-game winning streak. They went on a 4-game winning streak against. They lost to Arizona on the road and then won against Vegas the very next game, which then led to a 4-game winning streak. And then they lost to Seattle on the road, which then led into just a avalanche of losses to the Avalanche and the Wild and a couple, and maybe like I think 1 or 2 other teams in that span. But like, oh my gosh, they are just so inconsistent. They'll win a game against a team you don't expect them to win against, and then they go up against a team that you expect them to beat, and they don't win. It makes zero sense how inconsistent this team is this year. Like I thought last year's team was inconsistent, and I thought last year's team wasn't really even good. They're playing better than what this team is putting out right now. They're playing better than that. Now, granted, they played Columbus and Detroit 8 times, but you get my point. They looked better last year, and I thought last year was a bad year. See, at least last year started well. This year's got to like the worst start you could possibly imagine for a hockey team. It was awful. And they just haven't recovered. They have not recovered. They've had 2 separate 4-game winning streaks, and that's all they've got to show for it, basically, this season. That's all you have to show this season. 2 4-game winning streaks. That's it. Do I think Derek King will probably get the head coaching job? Probably. But do I think that Derek King is a bad coach? Not yet. Too small of a sample size. But, man, it's not looking good for Derek King right now because ever since because when he came in, it was like they were winning games. They were beating teams they really shouldn't have. They had this whole win-loss thing going on. And then when that finally broke and we went on a Christmas break, they came back and they have just sucked for the past month and a half. Honestly, they're so inconsistent. I would not be surprised if they just end up winning against Winnipeg, despite everything telling us that they're going to get destroyed in that game like they did in Colleton's last game as a head coach. The last one before he got fired. Because that was a 5-1 loss that they just got absolutely smoked. Who says they can't do it again? Who says they can go back-to-back 5-1 deficits? Let's do it. But who cares about logic when you could just decide to show up in one game and decide not to show up in another one? It just makes zero sense. And that's the state of this team. I mean, we're over halfway through the season. It doesn't look like anything's getting better. We're still miles out of a playoff spot. We got to leapfrog so many teams. It's you just hope that they can go on a run here at the end of the year. But with performances like this, I don't think it's happening. The problem is that I expected this team to at least somewhat compete with the addition of Jones and Fleury, but that's the exact opposite of what has actually happened. The team has not been competing this season, and it's disappointing. It's just disappointing. But I got nothing else. So that's going to be the end of this one. If you liked it, please hit the like button. If you really liked it, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you guys next time. See ya.